So Aubrey, tell me about your first psychedelic experience. I really think that the world will benefit from your experience if you're open to sharing.
Yeah, I'm really excited to share because I've wanted to help other people share these experiences and these stories because more people have had these experiences than not. There's still people that are on the edge and going through the medical system and going through mental health system and not finding the support that they need. And that was really me. I was 21, had 2 kids, going through major life changes at the time, and I was at the lowest point mentally that I've ever been. Just not feeling inspired. I didn't really have a reason to keep going, and that all really hit me as like my dark night of the soul when my best friend from high school and college, Taylor, passed away due to suicide. And so for me, that was the catalyst where I knew something had to change because I was at the point where I didn't want to keep going anymore. And I was fortunate enough and privileged enough to get a call from my father. I had never tried any psychedelics prior to this. But I had heard about ayahuasca about a month prior to this moment. This is like July of 2016, I think, 15 or 16. And my dad called me and said, "Hey, I just got back from Costa Rica at an ayahuasca retreat, and I'm going to send you and your sister down."
Wow.
And I was like, this is a crazy synchronicity because I had never heard of this medicine prior to that. And I remember 2 points that stood out to me about the medicine. It was one, there's the possibility of retrieving memories from your childhood and from your past. And when you go through a lot of trauma, you have deep impacts of trauma, memory often is the first thing to go, where it comes back in fragmented pieces. And then you have these physical reactions based on these fragmented experiences in your mind. And so I was like, wow, if I could relive some childhood memories to help me to heal from those experiences, that would be incredible. And I also knew that it also had the ability to help you heal physically, right? And I had 2 children, I was depressed, and you know what it feels like when your body is depressed, your energy is depressed, you're tired, there's fatigue. So that was really impactful for me. And so I flew to Costa Rica. I didn't know that there were options here, and also it's not legal. A lot of these medicines are Schedule 1 substances, unfortunately, which we're trying to change, which is part of the movement. And I had my first experience, my first ceremony with Mother Ayahuasca. It's hard to put into words. This is why these experiences are, they're beyond our language, what we can convey with language. But it changed my life in the sense that I was able to really understand my fears in a much deeper way than I had ever had the opportunity or the awareness to go into. How fear lived in my body, how it expressed itself in my life, and in like subconscious patterns that I found myself in over and over. And this goes into intergenerational trauma and all. There's so many things we can cover here, but on a very basic level, I came out of that experience over 3 days of ceremony literally transformed. And not to say that medicine is for everyone. There are precautions that you need to take to make sure it's right for you, that it's safe for you. But for me, in that period of my life, I needed something drastic, and the medicine opened my mind to all of the joy, really opened me to the joy that lives in me, in all of us, and to trust our inner healing intelligence and wisdom and know that we're not alone. I think that was the most impactful, that I'm not doing this by myself. I have all of this invisible support and physical support around me that I can call on, and that there is a reason to keep going. So I came out of one of those ceremonies seeing my best friend who had passed, not as a physical being, but as if she was the night sky, literally like lying there on the mat, seeing these stars. I could hear her voice. And I came out of that ceremony that night, and I was crying in a ball. And I said, I was like, I want to live. It's so simple, right? But like, I didn't want to die that day, and it didn't feel like that the year prior. So, these medicines have the ability to change our lives for the better. Integration is an important piece in this, not to be left out. But, when we create relationship with the medicine, it allows us to create relationship with ourselves in a new way and take that into our communities and take that into our environment. So yeah, that's what that experience was like for me.
Wow, thank you for sharing.
Thanks for listening.
Wow.
Yeah.